Hello, everybody, and welcome into our first Western Conference playoff preview show here at the Hockey Writers. The only one, as we're recording, that's confirmed. The rest of them are still up in the air, but we'll hopefully find out a couple of those by the game's ending tonight. But I've got a couple writers here, the Winnipeg Jets and the Colorado Avalanche, Connor Hrabchak and Stefano Rubino. Stefano, thanks for coming on. How's it going?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. First time here since joining the Hockey Writers. I've watched back all the other ones you guys have done with the previews and playoff pictures, so excited to get with these New Year's playoffs.
All right, sounds good. And Connor, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm not a rookie to these things, but it's fun to do it again, and we got a great playoff series to talk about, so I'm excited.
Yes, let's get right into that. I mean, Winnipeg Jets, Colorado Avalanche. This is a battle of the Titans, really. I mean, they've got both had great regular seasons. 1-2 and or 2-3 in the Central. I mean, this Central Division is ridiculous. I mean, all 100-point teams, and one of them's going to get eliminated in the first round, which is ridiculous to me. But both these teams are going to be fun to watch. And let's start with you, Connor. What do you think about the Jets season this year, and just overall how they played against the Avalanche throughout the season series? This last one was a barn burner. They just destroyed the Avalanche for some reason. But I don't think that's going to be how this series is going to go. What do you think about their season overall?
They've had a fantastic season. They had a rough stretch. Just actually right now they're on a 7-game winning streak. Before that started, they had a 6-game losing streak, and that was kind of the lowest point of the season. So it's kind of miraculous how they've turned it around in such short time here. One of those 7 straight wins was the 7-0 win over the Avalanche that basically decided home ice. The Jets needed to beat the Kraken on Tuesday night, but they did that. And yeah, they're playing some of their best hockey right now. They had their franchise record long winning streak of 8 straight wins in the middle of December earlier this year. Right now they're at 7. They can make it 8 on Thursday night. They're going to rest a bunch of their starters. But having said that, the quality of competition that it's come against over these last 6 or 7 games here has been more impressive, in my opinion, than what happened earlier on in the season. So they're playing their best hockey. The Pierre-Luc Dubois trade for Gabe Vilardi and Alex Iafallo, and signing Hellebuyck and Scheifele. It's been a season of highs in Winnipeg, and right now they're arguably on their highest of highs as they got a 7-game winning streak heading into the playoffs.
There you go. Yeah, and that one of those wins, like you said, the 7-0 blowout. Stefano, what do you think about the Avalanche's season overall? I mean, they had a great season. Started out kind of slow, but turned it on. They pretty much look like the Stanley Cup winners from a couple seasons ago. What do you think about their season overall? How they played against the Jets? Maybe minus that one game, but are you worried? Actually, I'll ask you, are you worried about that?
Um, I mean, worry about the Jets. Yeah, I think there's against either of us can say that we wouldn't be excited for anyone, rather it be Dallas or if we go up to the first card, top spot up against Nashville with how they've been playing recently. So I think this is a conference that no one's really happy against who they versed. The Jets, yeah, it's been rough. I think they went 0-3-1, I do believe, in their 4 games matchups. It was not pretty. Stylistically, they played really well against Colorado, a good shutdown line, straight to 4. The season overall was looked pretty good. Their worst stretch was just after the break, which they really bounced back, including the trade deadline. But a lot of ups and downs. They versed a lot of their opponents really good in the East. When it came to the West, they've really went even against a lot of teams, especially against Minnesota, Nashville, Winnipeg, as stated. They didn't capitalize on those potential tiebreakers if they were to get to the points. But in the end, it's looking rough. Last 2 they've lost. They got Winnipeg. They got not Winnipeg. They got Edmonton tomorrow. No one's confirmed sitting out, resting for I believe either team. So we have to see till that. But again, it's the last regular season. I wouldn't expect the whole series and really season to become down to the last 2 games, 3 games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the season series was pretty lopsided. So like the 7-0, they Jets 6-2 was the previous game,
Yeah.
and then 4-2 was the other one. So outscored quite a bit. Avalanche are a high-powered team, but they only scored 4 goals against the Jets. Jets are ridiculously good defensively. And they also have a Vezina Trophy candidate, probably winner, now that Thatcher Demko was hurt. Unfortunately, he's probably out now. but Hellebuck's probably going to win the Vezina.
Mhm.
So yeah, the really tough team to go against defensively. So Connor, who are you watching in this series? I mean, we know their stars, Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, all those guys, but who are you watching in this series? Is it the stars, or you got some other guys you're kind of watching?
Well, I'm going to lean into that defense that you brought up. And Connor Hellebuck, at least here in Winnipeg, we've been talking for months that like he's already won the Vezina. So as soon as Thatcher Demko went down, it was like, oh yeah, well he was in the lead already. Now he's definitely going to get it. And he's even getting some Hart Trophy recognition. Obviously, there's the big four for that, but that's a whole nother topic. The player I'm watching for, I'm going to throw out Josh Morrissey. The Jets are going to have home ice. They're going to have the matchups in games 1 and 2, games 5, game 7. And he's the player that's going to be out there almost every single time that Nathan MacKinnon is on the ice, along with Adam Lowry's line, that third line, the shutdown line, if you want to call it. But Josh Morrissey has the ability to take over a game. I think he's the only player outside of Hellebuck that you can really say that on the Jets. Obviously, the Avs have more players like that, the high-end talent kind of guys, but Morrissey's up there for me. So he's a player that I'm watching for. He'll be playing the tough minutes against Nathan MacKinnon, and he can step up and kind of rise to the occasion since he's, I don't know, roughly top 10, top 5 defenseman in the NHL.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of minutes in this series, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Connor mentioned Nathan MacKinnon. Man, this guy's been amazing all season long. That hat trick that he had is not that long ago. I think it was a couple games ago.
Yeah.
Showcased what he is. He's got so much speed. I want to say he's faster than Connor McDavid at certain points. It just seems like he's faster. But
I've seen that debate where it's kind of like once where McKinnon has that burst of speed like lightning, or I think it was thunder. I think I heard an analyst say online where McKinnon's like thunder. You don't see it, but you hear it coming. Where McDavid, you see that he just goes 1-to-1. So it's a fair comparison.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, he's exciting. So everyone's gonna be watching him. And Mikko Rantanen, of course, he's had another great season. Who are you watching on this team that could make a difference apart from those two? Because obviously everyone's gonna be watching those guys.
A part of me is really looking at Alexander Georgiev. I think this top 9 is easily can go one-on-one, like Connor said, with this whole Winnipeg team. If there's going to be any player that I'm looking that can make a difference, it's going to be hard to compete against Connor Hellebuck, but can at least put up an over 900 save percentage, hopefully, against this Winnipeg team that can keep him in. It's got to be Georgiev, especially with the way he's been playing. It's unacceptable, really. His last 5 opponents against these Western Conference teams, he's lost all 5, pulled in 3, and is around an 897 percentage, which, yeah, you got MacKinnon, you got this offense, but it's the playoffs. You need saves.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're looking on paper, it's pretty lopsided for goaltending, especially with how well Connor Hellebuck has played this season, and Georgiev's kind of been a bit up and down, right? So I mean, and he hasn't really played. I'm just trying to pull up the stats here of how he's played against the Jets, which is probably not very pretty here. He's started 2 of the games, and
he did start that 0-7 one.
833 save percentage, 5.66 goals against average, and he let in 4 of those goals in the 7-0 loss. So he was pulled. Yeah, it's not pretry. So yeah, definitely that's a guy who's going to have to step up and play a lot better, because we all know Hellebuck's going to. He's going to have to go head to head to him. All right. Well, I mean, this series is a lot to kind of go over, but Connor, what do you think about keys to victory? How are the Jets going to make it out of this first round against the Avalanche?
So, yeah, it's a great question. All season long, their bread and butter has been their 5-on-5 play, their goaltending, their defense. And I don't have any doubts of those things showing up here in the first round. What I do have doubts of showing up is the power play, is the penalty kill. And I know Colorado has really good special teams units. Obviously, their power play, they have Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar and all these insanely talented players. But if the Jets penalty kill can mitigate that a little bit and their power play can give them a clutch goal or 2 in this series, I think that's going to really, really help because the Jets special teams, I believe both are like middle of the pack right now, but it's been so up and down this year. It's been so streaky. There was a time when they had Velarde, they acquired Sean Monahan, and their power play was like 33% for a month. And then Velarde got hurt and it went down to like 5% for the next month. And then Velarde came back and it's way back up. It's like it's so streaky that right now it's on the up because the team is on a 7-game winning streak and they're scoring a ton on the power play. If they can carry that into the first round, I think that's going to do wonders for them because I have no doubts about their other bread and butter parts of their game showing up. But that's one place I'm really watching for as a key to victory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a big one. I mean, both teams can obviously score on the power play. They both got their stars, both got their great defensemen. I mean, Cale McCarr probably a little step above Josh Morrissey, but Morrissey's really stepped up over the last couple seasons and entering that tier too. So yeah, some great guys to watch. Stefano, what about you for keys to victory for Colorado to kind of break this kind of domination that the Jets have kind of gone over this season for them?
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna bounce back Connor's whole argument, and I'm gonna compare it to the yin and yang because stylistically, the season is. If you look at the advanced stats, we offensively we have the better stats. Defensively, we do not. It is, and it's not close. Like, oh, it's 6, it's 7. No, I have a stat here. If I'm gonna pull it by myself, while we are no, Winnipeg is first in save percentage with a 938. Avalanche 16th with a 900. So it's not like it's close. It's gonna be really long. My key is you gotta take away one of those key factors. You have to, whether it be save percentage wise and Georgiev gets his game back, or pace wise and opportunize themselves on that penalty kill. You gotta take whatever is granted for you. This is a Winnipeg Jets team that regular season wise just had their number. And I know Rick Bowness is really going to be able to utilize his bottom six well, which I really am kind of scared for because I think, well, it's not a superstar studded blue line pairings. They're all the lines, especially that top line, that can stylistically match up well with this team. And so I think it's going to be a matter of taking the opportunities that we see, not for granted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, on paper, it's kind of very lopsided in both those ways. I mean, defensively, the Jets are just so much better. And if that's how it's going to play out, it's going to be a pretty quick series, I think. All right, I'll stay with you, Stefano, for this one. You mentioned something you're kind of worried about there. Is that what you're mostly worried that could be an Achilles heel for the Avalanche in this series, that they just can't match defensively with the Jets?
Yeah, it's definitely up there, and it factors into the goaltending aspect is where what I'm seeing now more recently is that it's not just they're not getting saves, it's how they're playing in front of the goaltender. They're not moving bodies in front. They're screening Georgiev. They're not chasing after pucks and off deflections and hustling out of it. If we're not able to capitalize off things that we're working on and the Jets are able to get their momentum playing and stylistically match up to where it's an even, if not losing matchup, then it's going to be a hard one to win.
Connor, what about you for a weakness? I mean, the Jets have mostly played pretty well over the whole season, but there was that stretch where they didn't, they kind of went away from their game. They had, like you said, them losing streak. What thing could rear its head again that could potentially be a problem for them?
Yeah, that 6-game losing streak, a lot of the issues was, and Rick Bowness brought this up a lot, was like puck management. They weren't exiting their zone cleanly. They were turning the puck over a ton. And then when that happens, their defensive structure that makes them so good falls apart, and it just kind of everything crumbles because when you manage the puck well, obviously you're going to be playing less defense and you have more energy to play defense when you have to. And that 6-game losing streak was just they never had the puck, and they were playing defense all the time, and then their defensive numbers were bad. But it's like, well, if you play defense for 90% of the game, your defensive numbers are going to be bad, and you're going to lose hockey games.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest weakness that I think could pop up is puck management. And then last night against the Seattle Kraken, Neil Pionk turns a puck over right in the slot, gives the Kraken a 2-on-0. And I saw people on Twitter like, now imagine if that's McKinnon and Rantanen, and he just turned that puck over to that the turnovers in their own zone has been a problem from day one. When it's really bad, it's really bad. That's something that could show up in a playoff series against a team that'll capitalize immediately on those chances. So I think puck management and not having these back-breaking turnovers in high danger spots.
That's the thing. Like, if you turn the puck over to those guys, most likely it's in the back of your net.
Goal.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if Hellebuck's in net or not. They're money most of the time.
Hmm.
Well, look at how many points McKinnon's got. All right, X factors. Stefano, what could be an X factor in this series for the Avalanche? It could be a player, it could be a situation. What do you got?
Power play, I'm going to just go off. I'm going to cheat with both. Obviously, the power play is definitely going to be a key factor. I don't know how much penalties the Winnipeg Jets give up stylistically, but I know the Jets are easily, when you have Hellebuck in net, are going to be the key contributor for that. But for me, it's got to be Jonathan Drouin. I think that's all of Avalanche fans. The contract, the production he has been great. He's been streaky in the beginning of the year, but after this second half of the break, come the All-Star break, he's been phenomenal. And I think we can really push that position into the playoffs that we've seen of play right now. With playing with McKinnon, that was the whole thing of there's their junior league teams. These guys know each other. We got to play well, and we don't know if Landeskog's coming back, and that left wing position has been filled up and down with quite literally whoever is able to play that position. And Duran has verified himself as that top left
Mhm.
winger. And so I need him to be as well prepared as he can to play that top line as if it's not him, it's got to be someone else, and that just affects the whole depth.
Mhm. And Drouin's been really good,
Hmm.
especially like you said in the second half of the season. And we're hoping that he would regain that chemistry with McKinnon, and starting to kind of look like that way again. So he's definitely going to be an X factor. Connor, what about you? What do you got as an X factor for the Jets?
I want to say Adam Lowry, but I'm actually going to extend it to that whole line. Nino Niederreiter, Adam Lowry, Mason Appleton. The Jets shut down line all season long. This is their X factor, no doubt. They're going to
Mhm.
be matched up against Nathan McKinnon. It's why home ice was so crucial. They absolutely dominate like goal share, shot share, expected
Mhm.
goal share, all the analytics that you want to look at for a third line. They're one of the best third lines in the league, and Rick Bowness is going to use them in those high leverage minutes. And again, no one's expecting them to come in and hold Nathan McKinnon pointless in the first 3 games of the
Yeah.
series. Like that's just not going to happen. But what you can't have happen is McKinnon have a hat trick and 2 assists, and
Yeah.
the Avs win 7-4. If it's a track meet, the Avs are going to win. So that third line has to kind of just calm Nathan McKinnon down a little bit. But I think that matchup, the Avs top line versus the Jets third line, especially in the first 2 games, a game 5, a potential game 7,
Mhm.
that's going to be Winnipeg's X factors, shutting down that line a bit at 5-on-5.
Yeah, I think you just got to do is limit McKinnon. Limit
Limits,
him. You're not
yeah.
going to shut him
Just
down. Just
yeah.
limit his
Yeah.
effectiveness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's not going to be shut down. He's just too good.
Absolutely not. No.
All right, series MVP. Now, this could be and I mean, I want to change this. It's not series MVP. It's the biggest difference maker in this series. It doesn't have to be a star. It can be just someone that's going to make a huge difference. So, Connor, who do you got that could potentially do that for the Jets?
I'm gonna go with Connor Hellebuck. Stefano's been talking a lot about the Avalanche goaltending, and what I've been saying is like the Jets have a goaltending advantage in this series, but you can't even just say like they have a goaltending advantage, then leave it at that. They have the best goalie in the league, and the Avs have sub 900 goaltending. Like that is
Yeah.
such a wide goaltending advantage that even if the Jets get outplayed for 60 minutes, that could be the ultimate equalizer kind of thing, and
Yeah.
they could squeak out a win. And wins in the playoffs are doesn't matter how. So Connor Hellebuck can do just that. He's been the Jets MVP all season long. He's up for Hart Trophy. He won't win it, but he'll be up there.
Mhm.
He's gonna win the Vezina. He's gonna be the series MVP because of how wide that goaltending advantage is.
Yeah, I'm sure Jets fans are happy they re-signed him. I was
Yeah,
talking about him
Jets
not
fans are
coming
very
back.
happy.
So
Yeah, yeah,
he's definitely proven that it was a good decision.
yeah.
All right, Stefano, who you got as their series MVP or biggest difference maker in this series?
I think for me, it's got to be Makar and his style of play.
Mhm.
Obviously, when it comes to skating on that blue line, the puck movement is going to be outstanding when it comes to trying to get an easy shot, quote unquote, on Hellebuck. Obviously, as you stated before, when you're trying to get that top-down pair of McKinnon, Rantanen, and now Duran, that's going to leave it up for Taves and Makar, who could arguably be the top line for Team Canada come the World Championships. And so, if he can be able to use his transition offense on the penalty kill and on the power play, needing him to be that guy that we've seen before in the playoffs, especially that first year when he came in. He's going to need to be the guy that's able to not only create the shots from points with all net front presence, which we've seen McKinnon more now, being able to use a slightly larger frame in front of the net. But we need him to really help transition the offense.
Well, we definitely know Makar can do that.
Yeah.
One of the best in the league in that. I want to say Quinn Hughes is better, but that's because I cover the Canucks. They're so fun to watch. I mean, both those guys. Jeez. All right, a bold prediction for this series. It doesn't have to be for the team you cover. It can be just overall. So, Connor, what do you guys a bold prediction?
I don't know. I feel like this could go away because the Jets handled the Avs like so easily in the regular season. I could be like Jets in 4, but no, I'm not going to do that. I think my bold prediction for this series, a big question mark in Winnipeg has been the top line of Connor, Scheifele, Velarde. Their analytics are really poor, but like they kind of squeak by in terms of even goal share. My bold prediction, and it's not going to sound very bold, but if people from Winnipeg are watching, they'll know it's bold. I think the top line of the Jets actually comes out of this series with a positive goal share. They had 2 goals the other night against the Kraken. Kyle Connor scored twice. They had a couple goals, not at 5-on-5, but on the power play in that 7-0 win over the Avs. And I feel like they're getting hot at the right time. And even though they've had all this time together where they haven't played well, I think right now they're playing well. So my bold prediction is that the top line for the Jets actually matches up a little bit with the Avs top line. It doesn't sound bold, but trust me, it is.
I think it is, especially with how dominant those 2 guys with the Avs have been. So, I think it's bold. Stefano, what do you got as a bold prediction?
I'm going to go back on Cotter, and I'm going to use my own third line with our third line. Unfortunately, it was one of the best lines in the team Avalanche when it comes to expected goals for. Logan O'Connor, unfortunately, was a huge impact of that, but he got hurt. Right now, it has mainly been Ross Colton, Miles Wood, and sometimes we've been seeing Zach Parise. It's come in and out with the recent additions of Yakov Trenin or right now Brandon Duhaime. But I think that is going to be a line that is quick, it is fast, and could arguably match up well against that first line, similar to Connor's line with Mason Appleton when it comes to stylistically defending McKinnon. I think stylistically, Colton, known his time for Tampa Bay and that whole culture being a pest in the playoffs, and being able to use that line against their top lines and be able to match speed, strength, and their penalty killing unit is going to be arguably a line that might not produce as much, but can definitely be the lines that defensively you're going to see a lot of times out there, and lines that can definitely be seeing to kill a penalty kill or kill a play and transition to the offense, hold it, and have enough time for a McKinnon, the Ranton line to come in when it's a opposition line that he knows he can take advantage of.
It's a good one too. Third lines, I want to say in almost every playoffs, there's a third line that makes a big difference in Stanley Cups, and it just has happened. I don't know about the Golden Knights last season if they had one, but
I mean, the only one I think comes to mind really is Tampa Bay, and like the 18-19 was Yanni Gord, Anthony Cirelli, and Alex Kaloran. That was like the big lines in the COVID bubble days where they were the big ones. Obviously now the cap is taking the place and they've lost it, but obviously that's the first one that comes to my mind.
One that also, this goes back ways, but Rob Niedermeyer, Travis Moen, and who's the other guy? Moen, Niedermeyer, and Paulson. That was like, I don't know, that they were like probably the one before they used to be, and then the Colton line that kind of took over that. The Gord line kind of took over that after that, but third lines can make a difference. That's for sure. I think the Canucks have one too. This coming up, but that Connor, that one that you for the Jets, that could definitely be a big third line from the playoffs too. So
for sure,
what are we watching? The third line.
That's what we're all watching for, the third line action.
Not McKinnon, not McCarr, not Morrissey. I want to see Adam Lowry cycling the puck down low. That's what I'm watching
for. They're the home for these guys. You need them. All right, let's finish off with some predictions for this series, and I'll start with you, Connor. Who's winning this series, and in how many games?
I like Jets in 4. No, I'm kidding. I do like the Jets to win this series. I think the goaltending is really, really like an advantage that can't go understated. Nathan McKinnon and Cam McCarr do scare me, but I think the Jets are well built to mitigate that in a way with that third line with Josh Morrissey. They're well equipped to counter it in a way, and then if those guys get beat again, they have the best goalie in the world. So I think they do win this series. I think it goes 6 or 7. I'm gonna go Jets in 6, just as an official prediction. But if it went 7, I could totally see that too.
All right. Stefano, what do you got as
I I'm
prediction?
gonna go with completely what Connor said. I think if you're an NHL fan, unless you despise the Avs or Winnipeg for whatever reason, you hope both teams get swept. But I think this is a series that we all hope that it goes to 7. I mean, I think Connor and I don't want it to go 7. We both want 4 or 5 games max. But I think stylistically, like we talked before, it's like the yin and yang that what I do well, Winnipeg doesn't well. What Winnipeg doesn't well, Avs do well.
Yeah.
I'm going Avs in 7. I think we can definitely see what the first 2 games are like in Winnipeg. As Connor said, home ice has been huge for Avs, and their road record has not been great. So I got the Avs in 7. I think this year compared to last year's disappointing end with Seattle, they've really added to their depth, their bottom 6 with the additions to Trennan and Brandon Duhaime.
Mhm.
There's been reports of maybe Landeskog coming in. We don't obviously know that if anything's going to rush it back. Prospect Kovalenko has been playing with the Eagles. Obviously, nothing's been stated that if he's going to come up for the playoffs.
Mhm.
But I think if offensive clicks well and we're able to hold with his new depth, I think both teams either win it in 7.
Mhm. I'm gonna say 7 because I love 7. I love game 7s.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it's up in the air. I want to say Jets in 7 because it just seems like they have the, like you say, the great equalizer in goaltending, and I think that's gonna be a big difference in this series.
Yeah.
Is who's gonna have the better, who's gonna, well, not on paper, obviously Hellebuck's a better goalie, but
Oh,
who's
yeah.
going to be the better goalie in
Exactly.
the series. It's not always on paper.
Totally.
So yeah, it's going to be a fun series to watch. So I hope it does go 7 because we
Mhm.
watch as much as that as possible, and as much as McCarr as possible, and McKinnon, because they're such
Oh, yeah.
fun players to watch. And well, I mean, the Jets have their fun players too. Kyle Connor is a
Yeah.
Oh,
great player too. So yeah, lots of stuff, lots of fun stuff coming up. So thanks, Connor. Thanks, Stefano, for coming on the show and talking this series. And we'll see who's back for the next preview and who's into the second round. So thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, make sure you're checking out all the writing here at thehockeywriters.com. Connor, Stefano will be covering this series wall to wall throughout the whole thing. So make sure you're checking all that out. And I'm sure they're going to have their preview posts. I know, Connor, I believe you already have one. One of you guys, I think Declan may have had that, but
Declan had that one.
have
Yeah.
your own stuff too. So make sure you're checking all that out. And until our next preview show, we'll see you on another episode on the Hockey Writers YouTube channel.